You're watching the Eternal Tournament Series.
Hello and welcome to Season 6, Week 1 of the Eternal Tournament Series, brought to you by aReNGee Eternal. I am Sir Rhino, and joining me in the booth today to help with coverage is Gabe, aka Calimdir. How you doing, Gabe?
I'm all right. It's nice and early for me over here on the West Coast, and I'm excited for a brand new season of ETS.
Right, the last time we saw everybody was at the ETS Season 5 Invitational. That was just a couple weeks ago, but now it's a new season, the final season before the World Championship. So this is the last chance everybody has to qualify for that, and this will be the first of 7 weeks leading up to the Season 6 Invitational and the World Championships after that. So a lot on the line, but also not a high cost to get in. These tournaments, as always, are free to enter, and we have plenty of entries this week. I believe the final count after check-ins was 62 players, so we've got 6 rounds of eternal action before cutting to a top 8, and from there going to single elimination to figure out who this week's champion is. So without further ado, let's get into the matchup that we've got lined up for this first round. There's a lot of exciting and new and experimental decks in this tournament, and we're going to see one of them here in round 1. We've got gaintmonstr on what's called Xenon Control, but there's some interesting pieces to this deck versus Beylac, who is on, I guess, a pretty actual traditional Felon Control list.
Yeah, the Felon Control is only slightly different. It's just maybe missing some cards you associate with Felon Control, like Azindal's Gift and Celestial Omen, but it's still the same Felon Control shell. The Xenon Control list, however, is very different from the Xenon Control list you might be familiar with that Lights Out Ace has been playing for a long time. No Wasp or anything. This is like a slight life force focus almost with Mask of Torment. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, Mask of Torment's the big, wait a second, we haven't seen this card much. It's a 5-cost relic that just gives you an extra power, but whenever you gain life, it gives you more power, and it has an ultimate that costs 20 power, and it gives you a Tormentor, which is an 8/8 flying charge overwhelm unit that, if it's in your void, gives you a Spiteling every turn. So it can be a fast clock or an inevitable beat down as well via Spiteling. So we'll see how that plays out. They've got a decent number of ways to trigger Massive Torment, notably 4 Sanctuary Priests, but they're up against a deck that has Lightning Storm in the main deck, so who knows how often these Sanctuary Priests are going to stick around to do that. But still, 3 Missing Ascendants, couple Waystone Infusers, there's still some card advantage built in the deck. It's more about Beylac finding the right answers at the right time to this sort of stuff.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how it plays out. gaintmonstr has 3 Sandstorm Titans in his deck, of a good number. And it's possible that he could just get aggressive with something like a turn 4 Sandstorm Titan and an early Mystic Ascendant. But I feel like Felon Control, the list that Beylac is on, might have a little more consistent late game power and card draw.
Yeah. Felon Control is not known for its late game card draw as much as it is just its late game board pressure between 4 Champions of Cunning, 2 Veras, and then the Felon Bloodcasters and Wisdom of the Elders keep the cards flowing. Yeah, I would say the only oddball choice here maybe for Felon Control is Lightning Strike. You don't always see that main, but sometimes if you're expecting some amount of armory and it's still fine against aggro decks, you play it in the main. But other than that, yeah, this is pretty straightforward Felon Control list. And the Azindal's Gift, Celestial Omen you alluded to is in the sideboard. Those can come in post-board. A lot of interesting things there that we'll go over as we get into the match. So we'll be giving these players the go-ahead. And it looks like Mulligan's Resolve. gaintmonstr starts off with the Diplomatic Seal, and we are on our way this first match.
Yeah, and both players looking pretty good on their influence, so we're going to not see any holdups there.
Yeah, Beylac would like to see more dual influence cards just because they already have the champion in hand, but they're Felon Control. They're not in a rush to get Champion of Cunning down, and gaintmonstr with that triple Diplo seal plus Vera's Favor means double time, double shadow already locked up. And I think that means they can cast, just Vera is triple shadow in their deck. Everything else gets covered by double time, double shadow. No influence problems here.
Getting the double influence seats and banners is really important in film because it lets you get down the active champion earlier, but it's not game breaking. It can just be super powerful when it goes off.
Interestingly here, Game Monster chose to not use Varus Favor there to get double Shadow. His opponent doesn't have a lot of Varus Favor targets or Annihilate targets, so like holding up Annihilate there wasn't super valuable. I think I would have used Varus Favor, but again, they have 3 Sandstorm Titans. They're going to have plays for the next few as Beylac uses Annihilate on the first one.
Yeah, I think if you take a moment to look over Beylac's deck list, you probably think, oh, it's better to just get the 2 power cost that I have to pay out of the way now because he could be casting this Mask of Torment, because there just aren't great targets for Varus Favor.
Yeah, Varus Favor is also when you can save it and use it as a spell and not just use it for power. I just don't think that's the case in this matchup. But again, Giant Monster decided to hold on to it. Might actually get rewarded because Mask of Torment, it can trigger that as a life gain source if Game Monster does find another power. And in the meantime, has these Sandstorm Titans to play out that Beylac will have to deal with. So how do you think Beylac will deal with these? Could try and set up... Ooh, okay.
Yeah, he could try and set up something with Withering Witch, which he might have to, right? There's not a lot of other options. That's not what you want to use this early in the game when you're facing down a deck that can play so many big units. But if you have no other options, it's just what you got to do. Yeah,
it's just if you go Witch here, you could maybe set up Storm next turn or Black Sky Harbinger, but you don't know. You drew Seek Power, not an undepleted power, so you don't know if you'll be able to cast Harbinger next turn. But yeah, I think it's still Beylac's best line of play. So we see the Witch come out, and Gate Monster finds a Grasping at Shadows off the top of the deck.
Did he play a power that turn, or did he just forget to power first?
Beylac did play a 5th power that turn, so he couldn't cast Seek and Witch or like that. But we see Varus Favor come out, takes down the Witch.
Yeah, and what he doesn't know is that there's this extra Sandstorm Titan waiting in the hand, as well as a Mystic Ascendant. So he's going to be in a really rough spot very soon unless he draws some more Annihilates or his 4-mana removal.
Yep. But we see Beylac drops the Lightning Storm here to clean this up, and we'll probably just, drop this Seek Power and Felm Banner here, develop that power. Actually get Champion of Cunning 2/5 Primal here if he opts to grab the... Primal Sigil with power, which I'm guessing he'll do. Giving Champion of Cunning flying and Aegis is really strong, especially when you don't have a developed board. Why do you want to hit Shadow?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty good here. So if he can get to 5 and 5, he can actually just start blocking with whatever units he plays, because they'll be big enough to trade with most of Gate Monster's threats. Yeah, so Gate Monster takes a turn off to get Mask out, ramp a little bit, means Mystic Ascendant can come down and immediately draw a card if they want to take that line of play. Do you see anything else that's an appealing line here other than just Mystic Ascendant draw a card? I mean, not particularly. I don't think paying 5 for a 5/1 Sandstorm Titan is super appealing, and I don't think Lumen Defender it needs to be played yet. Yeah, so playing Mystic Ascendant here, you'll draw a card off of this Sigil, get you a Vera, which is really nice. And notably, if they have something like Annihilate for this Mystic Ascendant, they'd also, or Beylac would need not only an Annihilate, but like a Steward of the Past, so that it's not attempting Grasping at Shadow's target. Instead, we just see a Permafrost come out here, which Gate Monster certainly doesn't mind too much. Yeah, I think the card draw is a big part of why he enjoys Mystic Ascendant on the board here.
And honestly, I'm a little surprised we saw Permafrost there instead of just like Black Sky Harbinger. I guess Beylac's maybe saving Harbinger to clean up some things. But I'd honestly rather just get the 3/5 flyer down that turn than Permafrost, something that could potentially just be 8/8. But other than that, you can take one.
Yeah, that's true. You do end up with 8 damage flying and 3 damage lifesteal there.
It ends up working out because, the Sandstorm Titan comes down, takes 5 damage, and now Harbinger cleans it up. Diplomatic Seal, and we are on our way. this
So,
first
do
match.
you think he's looking to play Vera here?
Again, both players
looking
from
pretty good on their
gaintmonstr
influence,
side.
so we're gonna
Vera
not
gets
see
back
any
nothing.
holdups there.
So not
Yeah,
super
Beylac
valuable
would
play,
like to
but
see
yeah,
more
the Mystic
dual
Sentence not dead. It's not like you
cards
can
just
grasp
because they
for
already
that.
have
You
the
could
champion
grasp
in
for,
hand,
but their phone
a
control, they're not
Titan
in a
and
rush
Rush
to get
Annihilator,
Champion coming
something
down and
not
Game Monster
super
with that
into
triple
that
Diplo
either.
seal plus Vera's favor means double time, double shadow
yeah,
already locked.
we'll draw a
up.
card and see
And
what
I think
you
that
get.
means they can
Sanctuary
cast.
Priest.
Yeah, just Vera is triple shadow in their deck. Yeah, nothing super appealing here. You know, you want to in one way save your grasp for a better target, but one of your best targets is already. Oh God, they grabbed the wrong Sandstorm Titan.
Well, that'll cost him a little bit.
Yeah, use Grasping at Shadows. Had a 5/6 Titan in the void.
Animation effect where it's safe in your hand.
Yeah, I liked using Grass there. I think it was a fine play. They just got the wrong Titan. Notably swung with the Titan and it didn't trade with Harbinger. Beylac just waiting to see if he can find another Harbinger or Lightning Storm to clean this up, playing 4 Harbingers, 3 Storms. But activates a Bloodcaster there, finds another Champion of Cunning. Not on 5 Shadow yet, but once he unlocks that, could get pretty interesting. Ripping a Sanctuary Priest from his opponent. Maybe not the biggest grab, but it's something.
Yeah, the Sanctuary Priest being the more notable draw there, clearly. It's gonna do it blocks this Sandstorm Titan.
Yeah, that is something it does. And it looks like Beylac passes. Ion comes in end step. gaintmonstr does have enough power to activate. Ion can make a very large vanilla Sandstorm Titan here, while also drawing cards and gaining life and finding another missing.
Yeah, Active Ion's actually very big here because it allows him to actually push through this board.
I don't love this attack with Sandstorm Titan. I think one of the few ways your opponent can win this game in your position now, if you're gaintmonstr, is if they actually win via the skies. So just giving up this Sandstorm Titan here. I realize it dies to Vera's favor, Lightning Storm, Black Sky Harbinger, all those things, but I think you still want to force them to have that. Now, you know, if they find another, say, Champion of Cunning, which we know is in Beylac's hand, that'll be flying and dominating the skies. But we see Sandstorm Titan come back from Ion. It is silenced. It's just also an 8/9. Very low.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that line. I think he's got enough ways to push through the board. He doesn't need to sacrifice the Titan, and really Beylac's only way to get back into this game at this point is going to be through Champion of Cunning.
Yeah, again, I'm operating off of perfect information where gaintmonstr. God, mispronounced it so many times here. So I understand making that attack. You know, you don't know if your opponent has another Black Sky Harbinger or another Lightning Storm or Vera's Favor. Like, there's so many things that kill the 5/1. But here we go. That is all of their Sandstorm. gaintmonstr only plays 3. Yeah, so there's no real way to ground these flyers except somehow getting them back out of the void again. And really, this all comes back to that grabbing the wrong Sandstorm Titan with grasping at, right? If that was a 5/6, we wouldn't even have to talk about that.
Yeah, it would be a much different game. I mean, Beylac still doesn't have the 5th shadow.
All right, so here we see Ion coming in, which will guarantee gaintmonstr 3 life and give him an extra power. And also notably is a Vera target. And once you bring it back with Vera, you can activate Ion again. So I'm fine with Suicide attacking with Ion there. And we'll see if Mystic Ascendant comes down instead of Vera here. Looks like that's what's happening.
Yeah, I guess I misspoke earlier when I said the only Vera target was the Tormentor, because Ion is also a Vera's target.
Yep. So here we see, that other Mystic Ascendant may be permafrosted, but it's still drawing a card every time Game Monster plays a power, and he's slowly creeping up towards that Mask of Torment activation as well. That gets activated at 20. So you could even play a Lumen Defender here, but it's going to opt to hold up Ion.
Yeah, I've been eyeing this Mask of Torment. It's getting there slowly. He's trying hard. Sanctuary Priest is doing his darndest.
Yep. Meanwhile, Beylac is just chaining these Felon Bloodcasters. Has drawn all 4 this game, as we see the hand cam update there. Felon Bloodcaster number 4 is in hand. So Beylac's got plenty of card draw, but is sitting at 15 health while their opponent's at 20 and has another Lumen Defender and more life gain coming. So but crucially here, finds a Zenon Banner, which is a Shadow Source to buff the whole board.
Yeah, and that is going to drastically increase Beylac's clock. And getting the life gain, or getting additional attack on the life gain unit is going to be a big deal here. He is drawing a ton of cards off the Bloodcasters, but it's still less cards than Gate Monster is able to draw due to these Mystic Ascendants.
Yeah. Gate Monster is drawing more cards and has access to more power every turn. That's a very big advantage here when you're up on both kinds of resources. Looks like, just drawing more and more cards here. Even gets to warp in a Waystone Infuser if they want to, but I think Gate Monster will figure out exactly how they want to use their power before eagerly warping.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Beylac is going to have a way to win this race. It looks pretty nice. Like, oh, I have a giant Black Harbinger and a champion with Aegis, but as soon as Gate Monster starts gaining, I mean, he's got the Ion, he's got an Extract, and once he gets that Tormentor down, he's going to have a blocker for the champion or the Harbinger. So I don't know. It could... I feel like it's going to be really tough for Beylac here. He's going to have to get remove something at an interesting time or something. Just throw off Gate Monster's clock just a little bit in a way that he doesn't expect to win this race.
Yeah. So here we see Gate Monster realizing he's still on some sort of clock. It's going to actually offer up this 8/8 Mystic Ascendant, which Beylac will double block here. It looks like. No, just chump blocks it. That's interesting. Wonder why Beylac didn't want to go with the double block there. Maybe respecting the possible blowout of something like Banish. Didn't want to get blown out by it. Instead, just opted to not take 8 damage.
Yeah, I think Banish is the only card that blows him out there. I mean, it's a safe choice. Maybe he's just saying, well, either way, I just want to get the most blocks in. I don't care if I lose my whole ground board. The game's going to be over by that time. But I don't think that's going to be the case with how much life Gate Monster is gaining. Yep.
So now, I think you're in a spot there as Beylac where you just need to double block the Mystic Ascendant and make him have it, because it's like, well, even if they have Banish, how am I winning this game? They can just kill this Felon Bloodcaster later on anyways. And all right. I realize you hadn't gotten to ultimate it yet, but you have another Bloodcaster in hand. You could always just play and ultimate that. But we'll see if preserving this one ends up paying off, as Gate Monster did warp out that Infuser, and we'll see what happens here. 32 health to 17. Gate Monster 1 power away from getting the Tormentor. As
and he got the Mask of Torment.
Oh. Yeah.
A bit of a Gate Monster's got a bit of a head start on the race to the Tormentor.
Yeah. So here we go. Gate Monster draws for turn. It's a Devour, but already has and knows that a Sigil's not on top of their. But they're still going to play out the Shadow Sigil here, see what they draw.
One Steward of the Past or one Annihilate does a lot here for Beylac. Getting rid of that Mystic Ascendant drastically reduces the clock on Gate Monster's side, and I think just kind of. I think Beylac would win the game if that happened, like within a turn or two.
Yeah. So here we see the Mask of Torment gets activated. The Tormentor is free. Cackles maniacally. We have changed our settings where we actually have in-game sounds this season for the ETS, so we get to enjoy them there. And it looks like they're going to opt to hold this back and try and stop the aerial assault, as Beylac does already have 16 attack.
Yeah, that is no joke. I mean, that has 7 damage lifesteal flyer there.
Yep. So it looks like just Mystic Ascendant is coming in, and Beylac's got to decide: do I double block it this time? My opponent is tapped out. There's no shenanigans here, so the coast is clear. You just lose both of your Bloodcasters. So Beylac's got to decide if that's worth it. It's not like these Bloodcasters are ever going to threaten doing damage here. There's 2 1/5 deadlies on the other side of the board. So I think I like double blocking here, even though, still going to keep drawing more and more cards as the game goes on. You still got to do what you can to slow that down.
Yeah, it's not as clean as it would have been last turn, but it's still what you need to do. I mean, this Mystic Ascendant is your only real threat. But I guess he's thinking he can block 2 different things or block more damage if he holds these back. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it might be on the chump block Mystic Ascendant next turn, chump block it the next turn after that. The 1 extra card it's drawing Beylac might be thinking is just not relevant at this point. His opponent still already has 6 cards in hand, has a Waystone Infuser going. Like, who cares? And again, wanted to activate this Bloodcaster.
Yeah, it's really important that he activated that Bloodcaster rather than getting the clean 1-for-1 trade.
Sure. So there we see the Death Strike clears out the skies so that 16 attack can get through in the air. And while that Tormentor will make a Spitling here and can come back via Vera, gaintmonstr's still staring down lethal flying, even with the Tormentor blocking one of them. Of course, these Devours can gain some life here, and I think that's...
Yeah, they can gain some life, but it's not enough. He only goes up to he goes up to exactly 9.
And and Sanctuary Priest will be another.
Yeah, Sanctuary Priest. So that's true.
So he'll get out of lethal range and finds a Lumen Defender.
Yeah,
so,
Lumen Defender.
Winning this race, kind of, for the time being, is what's happening here. And now gaintmonstr's just going to have so many different things that Beylac has to deal with. The Mystic Ascendant's still going. Avera's probably coming down here. Maybe we'll see the Devours first, but
yeah, the Vera definitely has to come down because neither of these flyers are annihilatable, and you just need something to stop this to slow down this clock.
Yeah, neither of these
it is no joke.
Yeah, neither of these flyers die to banish or annihilate. They do die to Death Strike, and I believe gaintmonstr has access to all 3 Death Strikes still in the deck. Hasn't found any of them yet. But yeah, we'll see Vera come down first here, and we'll see how gaintmonstr follows this up. Is he just going to hold up the Devours for now or use them on this turn? Swinging with the Tormentor. Huh.
Wow.
I guess with the other Lumen Defender in hand, I don't know, that's 20 in the skies from your opponent. And you can gain 5, 9. Not sure why this Tormentor's coming.
It's a little puzzling.
We'll see. Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Maybe gaintmonstr has some knowledge about the top of his deck that we just can't comprehend yet.
Yeah, this is very, very interesting because he's staring down 20 attack in the skies, and even at 6 and with all this life gain in hand, that's still only 9 more life to gain. That puts him at 15. And Ion can't really get back anything that immediately... Oh, the other Tormentor. Ion gets back the other Tormentor. That's it. Okay, we figured it out.
Are there 2 Tormentors? What?
Well, this one will get devoured, and then he'll bring it back
I see.
with Ion.
Yep. Okay, his plan was to sacrifice the Tormentor.
Yeah, yep. And then Ion gets it back. That is the plan here.
But isn't he still dead, though?
Well, now the Tormentor's not exhausted. So it can
the Vera trigger.
Yeah,
so I was thinking not the Ion activation, just the Vera trigger.
No Ion activation, just use Ion to get back Vera. So yeah, got an 8 extra attack and then used Ion to get back the Tormentor. The one problem with this plan, though, is that now you actually are exposed to like fast speed removal, where if your plan was to hold on to the Tormentor and try and block, and then they used Annihilate or Death Strike on it, you could have Ioned when they attacked and brought back the Tormentor. Now you're actually exposed.
Yeah, but making good use of the shadow units, that's good.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I just don't love the timing here or getting aggressive with the Tormentor, I don't think. I think I still would have held it back, and if they did kill it, you can get it back with Ion. the only thing that doesn't work against is Permafrost, but even then you have Devour.
Yeah, I'm not sure the 8 damage it was going to be that impactful. I think it might have been better to just play it as safely as possible, because the longer the game goes on, the more advantage you get from gaintmonstr's perspective.
Still a very cool line of play from gaintmonstr to see all of those interactions. And meanwhile, Beylac just drew a Vera's Favor off the top, so that's certainly not going to take care of this Tormentor, and has a lot of problems on the other end. As even if they do kill the Tormentor, it'll come back the next turn. The Spiteling brings it back because Vara's in play. So just kind of in a rough spot here for Beylac.
Yeah, I think Beylac's just been run dry of resources. He's been playing just, trying to play off the top of his deck and trying to desperately stay in the game. And he had this clock set up, but, it came down to the time when he just absolutely had to draw another removal or relevant card, and it's not there.
Yeah, the Champion of Cunning, Black Sky Harbinger, almost got the job done, but gaintmonstr simply got too many resources, set up the Vera Tormentor chain, the double Mystic Ascendant, a bunch of Lumen Defenders to gain that life, plus Ion. I mean, this late game engine is just, you never will run out of threats at this point. And it was really, a race that Beylac had to win. Almost got there, but not quite. As we see the attack come in, gaintmonstr goes down to 4 and is going to have something, almost certainly like some sort of lethal crackback.
Yeah, Vera was a big player in this match, because it turned out gaintmonstr didn't really draw any other ways to deal with the flyers besides the Tormentor.
Yeah, Beylac has forced 2 to the past and saw 0 of them here to help try and silence the Tormentor or just have a good blocker out. But still had a good enough draw to try and win this game. Didn't quite get there, as we see the Mask and Vera's Favors come out, gain a little bit of life. Maybe threaten to use Mask soon, but not soon enough.
Yeah, a little bit behind. Being at 2 is pretty sketchy, but am I missing something here? Okay, it's going back to
Yep. So now Tormentor makes a Wisp, which then brings back the Tormentor, which will then probably sacrifice either a Wisp or maybe the Permafrosted Titan, I guess you could do, or the Permafrosted Mystic Ascendant, sure, whatever. And
all right, I mean, I guess it's a big Ion target.
Yeah, it's something like that. But and we'll see. They're probably just going to do some quick and dirty combat math. Your opponent's got 1 blocker, which will block your 12/12, and they die.
Yeah, the Tormentor plus Vera is a great combo, just because it brings itself back constantly.
And we'll draw some cards first, just in case. But I expect an ace space here out of gaintmonstr. Although, let's see, even if... Okay, yeah, Banish takes out the blocker and do it.
And I think Beylac agrees that he is dead. So we're going to go to game 2, and we're going to go to sideboard. So I think this matchup played out a little differently than I initially said, but now that I'm looking back over the deck list, and now that I've seen them play out, the Mystic Ascendants add a lot of... I think the Xena Control might actually be matched or ahead in the late game, which is the opposite of what I said, because I didn't look at how many Mystic Ascendant Xena Control is running there.
Yeah, Mystic Ascendant is one of Felon Control's weaknesses, in that it's a big unit that you have to answer that also immediately draws a card when it comes into play. But Beylac has an extra Annihilate that they can bring in. Usually you just have to save your Annihilates for Mystic Ascendant in matchups involving Mystic Ascendant. That's all you have to do. I don't think Beylac actually saw any Annihilates that game was the issue, or had to use an early one on a Sandstorm Titan, something like that.
Yeah.
So that can be an issue. But yeah, we'll see the player's sideboard here. If you're gaintmonstr, I think both players have access to a Zyndel's Gift, so I'd expect some number of the 1 to come in on both sides, just because in the control mirror, it's a pretty key card. Something to keep in mind, though, is that Beylac can, get an Aegis from Vera's Favor, and the only way gaintmonstr has a lot of ways to pop the Aegis. Extract and Vera's Favor both take out the Aegis so that the Azindal's Gift can stick. So we'll that'll be a dance that's always fun to see post board.
Yeah. So how do you feel about the last word here from Game Monster's side?
I do not like it in this matchup against the deck with at least 8 ping effects and no way to actually protect it. I'm not a huge fan of the last word. It's cool. It does make your extracts and Vera's favors deadly, and itself is a clean answer to Champion of Cunning. So it might still be worth bringing in. It's just a question of what is it actually worth bringing in over? What are you cutting? Is it better than bringing in extra Veras? Is it better than bringing in Stewards of the Past when you know your opponent's going to be on a Vera plan as well? These are all things you kind of need to ask. You can say, yeah, it's good in this matchup, but is it good enough to make the cut post?
Yeah, I think a 9 power removal spell is not where he wants to be, because that's what's going to end up being a lot of the time with all the ping effects, like you said. But yeah, I was just interested because it's not a card that you see in every deck.
Oh, I love the last word. Certain matchups, it is just an absurdly powerful card. It's a little bit trickier to play in Xenon just because there is no way to give like your face just or that. So you have to keep that in mind. So it's but against something like Combray, it just like the game is over. If you get a last word down against something like Combray where they just have no way to deal with it other than like ambushing a unit at the right time and getting in with that.
And I think we have the players back into game 2,
yeah.
So that's good.
Yep.
I'm interested to see if he. Well, we won't be able to tell unless he draws all 4. But I'm interested to see if Game Monster brings in the 4th Titan, and if he brings in any Stewards, because I think Steward is pretty good against any deck running Vera or things like that.
I'm pretty surprised to see Beylac not only mulligan that starting hand, but then also see a Lightning Strike in their starting. Really shocked that Lightning Strikes stayed in this matchup post board. It basically kills nothing except Ion. So it's a little odd to see that. But his first hand was 4 power of Steward of the Past, a Felon Bloodcaster, and a Zindal's Gift. I don't know why you would ship that in this matchup, but we saw Beylac do that, and this is the hand Beylac has now.
Oh, well, clearly he kept the Lightning Strikes in to counter the last word that Game Monster brought in.
Yeah, I suppose. But yeah, so a little, maybe Beylac just didn't sideboard at all, but we saw the Zindal's Gift. So yeah, somehow just the Lightning Strike snuck in there, or he's got plans for it that I don't recognize. But anyway, the game continues. Gaint Monster, I'll never pronounce the name correctly, has a Devour up for this Temple Scribe, or can just Ion in here and bounce off one of these Bloodcasters, but then expose Ion to a ping effect. Yep, goes with the Ion blocking.
Yes, this is fine from both perspectives, I guess. Well, from Game Monsters especially. I don't know. Beylac doesn't really gain anything out of this, but
yeah. Yeah, there's an argument to even not block with Ion there, but just ambush it in a step and start swinging, gaining life anyways, and that way it's not exposed to something like Vera's favor. But Game Monster was fine with this, dying to Vera's favor. So the swing comes in, and Lightning Strike finds an Ion. So there you have it. The Mask of Torment came down pre-combat, so that Ion would presumably trigger it. That's here. And Beylac finds an Island's favor and uses that instead of playing Black Sky Harbor. Which
he got to threaten the Vera's favor and then make Ion run into Lightning Strike, which was otherwise going to be a rough card to get rid of because there wasn't, like you said, there was very few targets.
Yeah. A little interesting that he opted to use Island's favor there instead of just slaying the Harbinger. That just means he wants to guarantee Bloodcaster activations the next couple turns instead of using Harbinger just to kill a 1/1. So taking the long view approach rather than the short view, and I can agree with that.
You know, I think from what we've seen from last game and from this turn, I think Beylac really values the Harbinger summon effect more than he values the body.
Yeah, especially when your opponent's playing so many big, tough to deal with cards, being able to save Harbinger as like this one-sided board wipe once you find her, which is pretty important. Plus, when your opponent's card quality is so high, Felon Bloodcaster's activation gets that much better. When you're playing against an opponent with Mystic Ascendant, Vera, Grasping at Shadows, Ion, all of these cards are incredibly good hits for Felon Bloodcaster. Last game, Felon Bloodcaster only got you a Mask of Torment and a Sanctuary Priest. But them's the breaks sometimes, and also what a Xenon Banner. So
some
we'll
pretty good cards.
All right, the Bloodcasters come in. They are 2/5s. They do know how to attack. Gaintmonstr chose to bottom that Grasping at Shadows, maybe wanting to deny the Bloodcaster from drawing it. And,
man.
Bloodcaster drawing Waystone Infuser, not as big of a deal, but man, Gaintmonstr now has double Vera thanks to using Devour there.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad draw, I'll tell you that much.
Well, more importantly, it denies the Bloodcaster from drawing the Vera off the top of your deck. And it looks like you found a Wavestone Infuser anyways here. Gaintmonstr does. It's lurking on top of their deck. Will they choose to warp that in or do something else here?
The stone's power dims.
Yeah, so I'm just looking. Gaintmonstr had 2 extra Veras to bring in, so that's a lot of big, beefy value units that Gaintmonstr is going to be able to put down this game, which means that his hand is going to be pretty clogged up. If an early Azindel's Gift had come down, it would have been super detrimental, but it didn't, and now he's just got really powerful hand. But Rain of Frogs is going to try and do its best to change that.
Yeah, Rain of Frogs off the top. Beylac's got to decide, do I want to take out Vera or Mystic Ascendant? When you're looking at double Vera, I think you've got to take the Veras, or they're just going to bring each other back and you're going to have a lot of problems. And yeah, that's what we see here. Vera becomes a very shiny frog. Notably, Gaintmonstr didn't have Triple Shadow last turn, so couldn't even Vera if they wanted to. Of course, they warped in the Waystone Infuser, and yeah, now Gaintmonstr still has a Mystic Ascendant, but all those Veras have now been frogified, and that's at least one big problem down for Beylac.
Yeah, and Vera enables a lot of shenanigans with the Tormentor and other cards, so I think that's definitely the right choice. And he can, Beylac can deal with the ground threats. So I think it's still looking rough, right? Mystic Ascendant and Sandstorm Titan are pretty difficult to. And there's a third Vera.
Yep, third Vera did become a frog, but it's in play now, waiting to die to a Lightning Storm or a Black Sky Harbinger. But crucially, Gaintmonstr has the setup that they love here, which is Waystone Infuser plus Mystic Ascendant. Once you get those two going in concert, you can draw 2 to 3 extra cards per turn, depending on how the top of your deck cooperates. But right now, Gaintmonstr knows that they'll be drawing a Diplos.
Yeah, Gaintmonstr bought his ticket to the train to Value Town, and he's on board, and the train is chugging along.
Yeah, so Beylac now looking for a Withering Witch to eventually deal with this whole mess. But in the meantime, has a Waystone Infuser to try and keep up with the top deck wards. So we'll see if that's what they end up going with, or if they draw something else more tempting to play here, like a second Rain of Frogs.
Oh, man. Do you think it's Sandstorm Titan here? Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing really else to hit. They were really hoping to find another Mystic Ascendant to really just neuter Gaintmonstr's late game, but Sandstorm Titan at least is one of the best or most annoying answers to your flying threats in the late game. So turning that into a frog now just means your Annihilates will be under less pressure to work on the correct target. And crucially, you can still cast Waystone.
Yeah, so Beylac is still in a pretty rough position, but it does make it so that Gaintmonstr's only answers to a board state like last game, where he had the active champion and another flyer, are now just a Tormentor or Deathstrike.
Yeah, so we see Gaintmonstr play down a Sanctuary Priest here, get that life force trigger as they warp in a power thanks to Waystone Infuser, and draw a card thanks to Mystic Ascendant, and find another Sanctuary Priest, but that won't be able to trigger this turn. And Gaintmonstr sitting at 14, now 15 power thanks to Lumen Defender, so slowly ticking up towards this Tormentor activation.
Yeah, I mean, with the Sanctuary Priests, this is not going to be as slow. This is like 2-3 turns we're talking about.
Yep. And Bloodcaster activation comes out, only grabs a Shadow Sigil off the top of Gaintmonstr's deck, revealing another Seat of Mystery. And Beylac finds a Steward of the Past, not quite as strong now that you've already taken out the Varus, but still a nice body to have, but crucially finds a Champion of. So that means he'll be getting his clock going soon, but will it be soon enough? As that Bloodcaster activation costs 7.
Yeah, it's taken Beylac a lot longer to draw the relevant cards, and it's cost him a lot more tempo activating these Bloodcasters every turn. So on the other side, gaintmonstr is gaining, is at 18 power. He's able to play multiple cards a turn, and was able to develop a unit while drawing cards with Mystic Ascendant. So it's really, really hard for Beylac to keep up.
Yeah, the big difference these games have been gaintmonstr to draw a card just needs to play a power, where for Beylac to draw 2 cards has to use 7 power. So Beylac's past few turns have been Rain of Frogs, nothing, Rain of Frogs, and a Waystone Infuser, activate Bloodcaster, do nothing, where gaintmonstr's now already up to 18 power, is drawing just as many cards a turn because of Waystone Infuser and Mystic Ascendant, and is, again, this is what we were talking about like last game, ahead both in cards and in power as far as resources go. And Beylac's got the Champion of Cunning. It's just, is it going to be fast enough? Is it going to be enough to turn this around? Has the Permafrost for the Tormentor too, so will be able to rule these skies. But again, gaintmonstr also drawing lots of cards and Ion Sword too.
Yeah, on the plus side for Beylac, if he ever finds a way to really deal with this Mystic Ascendant, he can deal with most of the other threats. The problem is that dealing with the Mystic Ascendant means dealing with it a first time and then, a 13-13 or 16-16 or something brought back by Ion.
I think Beylac is still the favorite here, even though Mystic Ascendant's getting large, drawing cards. Again, we know gaintmonstr can't draw Vera, can't draw Sandstorm Titan. Those are all frogs. There's no way for gaintmonstr to ground this aerial assault. And so it's going to have to race it. And that might be a little too difficult, even at 33 health. Champion of Cunning hits a big chunk, especially now that it's got this Black Sky Harbinger alongside of it that can gain a ton of life and sweep up just a bunch of 1 and put Beylac up to 30.
Yeah. So he's got gaintmonstr now has 2 Tormentors that can be played. Beylac is holding the Steward, though, which is really key because gaintmonstr might just end up running both Tormentors into the Steward effect, which could be really, really rough for him and could seal up the sky for Beylac.
Yep, so gaintmonstr didn't activate Mask of Torment this turn. We'll probably see one next turn, instead using Ion, in addition to some of the other life gain cards there, to get back a Silenced Ion, just a 6/6 on this board, which will trade with the unit, but all of Beylac's units are about to become 6.
Yeah, and here comes the Steward before any of the Tormentors come out. I'm interested to see. The life gain is what's really throwing off the. Okay, well, Storm helps, but the life gain from the Black Harbinger is really what's throwing off gaintmonstr's plan here because you just can't race that at all.
Yep, use Storm just to take out the Sanctuary Priest to shut down gaintmonstr's power gain and life gain. You could have saved it if you thought you were going to see a Witch soon, but I think using it there is also a reasonable decision. So now gaintmonstr uses Mystic Ascendant to draw a card, just finds another Mask of Torment, and gets to activate for 1 Tormentor. And let's see, Beylac's got a Permafrost in hand. If gaintmonstr swings with anything, he could potentially just die on the crackback. Sitting at 22, Beylac already has 16 in the sky. And yeah, these frogs are going to come out in case you need them to jump block.
Yeah, gaintmonstr is going to be playing a Tormentor next turn and the turn after. So there's that. But I think both threats are lethal now, and he only has 1 blocker.
Don't love this sequencing from Beylac. I'm pretty sure he had a Felon Bloodcaster activation available and didn't use it before combat. I don't know if he could have found anything relevant before combat, but I still don't love that sequencing there. But still, gets in, takes gaintmonstr down to 6. Gaintmonstr finds a banish. That is not an answer to Champion of Cunning or Black Sky Harbinger, and a second banish. You can't combine them.
but look at Deathstrike, or look at Beylac's hand.
Beylac stole the Deathstrike. Oh my. Yeah, that is certainly a thing, but wow. So Deathstrike would have been able to hit this Black Sky Harbinger and at least do something. But yeah, Beylac with double Deathstrike. This Tormentor's gotta somehow block 2 lethal flyers. And I don't think it'll be able to, knowing that Beylac has double Deathstrike. Yeah, we see this too.
So Beylac, he was behind all game, and then the turn where he finally got, was able to stop paying 7 to draw cards and was able to play 2 cards in a turn. He put down Black Sky Harbinger and Champion of Cunning, and then it was just, well, shoot.
Yeah, game would have been quite a bit different if those frogs in hand were, 2 Veras to to chain some things and get that value going with like the Tormentor. But yeah, Champion of Cunning showing up just in time, saving that Black Sky Harbinger until it could get paired with Champion of Cunning and winning in the skies again. Well, I guess the first time. They didn't win in the skies the first game, but almost did. But we saw the strategy there, right? Own the skies, win the race.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but the round is just about to be over, right? So the players will not be able to finish game 3?
Unless they have a minor time extension for being held up. I'm not sure if the TO will grant them like a 5 to 10 minute time extension. We'll get word from the tournament organizer here in a second. I would say we could fire Rekenner, but he is not the TO today. We've got aReNGee, the OG, working behind the scenes to figure out the ruling on this.
Well, I mean, Rekenner should have been here. It's his fault.
Well, Rekenner is dealing with a little thing called Hurricane Irma, so we wish the best of luck to him. Hope he's safe and sound wherever he's taking shelter. He's not too worried about it, but still, we wish him the best of luck in dealing with that, and everybody else, other ETS participants and non-participants that are in the southern United States. We hope you are all safe. But yeah, looks like we're just going to get into game 3 and give them something like a 5-minute time extension. We're communicating that to the players right now. And somehow they'll have to win a game very quickly, or we'll have to apply the tiebreaker rule, which we can go over while we're waiting for this next match to get started. So for those that aren't familiar with the tiebreaker rules, the Eternal doesn't have ties, right? We don't have intentional draws because we don't have ties in the game engine, so why should tournaments have ties? And we basically use the same tiebreakers that the game rules engine does. So when time is called, whatever turn it is, the player with the least health loses. If the life totals are the same, the player with the least number of cards in their deck loses. If that number is the same, the player that went first loses. So those are the tiebreakers. So these players will just play it out. And once time is called, if hopefully the game's over, but if it's not, we'll go through the tiebreakers and decide the winner from there.
And we are in the game now, so that's good.
Yep, the game is underway. gaintmonstr has first blood, gains life first, which means he's currently winning the game.
So this game could actually be over very quickly for 2 reasons. One, Beylac could not draw enough primal influence to play some of his cards, or just not draw enough power, or he could just draw 7 power and on turn 7 play a Zindal's Gift and gaintmonstr just be out of the game.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get an exact timing on when the round is over to know how many minutes we actually have left for these players. But yeah, gaintmonstr banishes the Bloodcaster, can't get in as you said, and Vera's Favor swings the life totals back in Beylac's favor.
Beylac officially in the lead here, but look at that extract coming down. There's not a chance to win that race.
Yeah, this is silly, but we still actually have some time. I was told that 1 after 1 on our end is when this match will be called, and it's I know there's some time delay, so that doesn't mean anything for the audience, but we essentially have about 3.5 minutes still, which in Eternal is actually a long time to find some other things to do. Meanwhile, gaintmonstr just has a handful of Devours, and it's just going to throw out the extract.
Nothing to eat.
He'll keep that Diplomatic Seal on top, though. Guaranteed Mystic Ascendant trigger next turn.
Yeah, and so just passing back and forth, Beylac plays Harbinger, and then we're going to see the Mystic Ascendant come down here from gaintmonstr.
Yep. Mystic Ascendant with Diplo Seal, but then Beylac will have the Zindal's Gift next turn to take out like all these Devours or Temple Scribes or whatever. Although gaintmonstr will be able to play out as much as he can in the meantime, but instead opting to use Annihilate on the 6/6 because that's just a smart thing to do.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one I like more. If I like playing the Zindal's Gift first and then annihilating the Mystic Ascendant after your opponent has no cards in hand. but
Mm.
you know, it's taking 6 damage and also keeping them from having more options next turn with the card draw from Mystic Ascendant is viable.
Yeah, and let's see here. All right, gaintmonstr finds another Mystic Ascendant. Can't play it this turn because you used Temple Scribe to find it. Instead, gets to use Devour, gain back up to 27. So we're tied at 27 right now, but gaintmonstr has so much life.
And he's got another Annihilate really crucially from Beylac's side, which means that he's going to play this as Azindal's Gift. Gaintmonstr is going to be pressured to play out his hand, and that Mystic Ascendant is going to get annihilated.
Yep, so there's the Azindal's Gift. Goes on to gaintmonstr, who decides to not devour in response, wants to keep around this Sanctuary Priest. And I imagine we'll just see a Mystic Ascendant come down here. Yeah, there it is. And
yeah, there's no way with the timing of the Devour to get these cards to survive Azindal's Gift, so it's just all dead. This whole hand is gone.
Yeah, I think we'll just see a Varus Favor on the face here just to gain 1 extra life and get a Shadow Sigil out of your deck. Because I don't think Devouring is better, but all right, we see the Devour killing the Sanctuary Priest. So that's got 2 time sigils out of the deck. All right, and there are 60 seconds left. 60 seconds left in the game, but Beylac's got the Azindal's Gift down, has the Annihilate, has the 3/5 flyer. Even if we weren't playing with funky time is on the clock rules, I think Beylac would have been favored to win this game anyways, but the game probably would have been played out differently or mulliganed differently because of the time restrictions, but still looks like Beylac's got a sizable lead in this game with about 30 seconds left as gaintmonstr draws a Mask of Torment off the top and is just under that block.
It's roughly, 5 cards ahead in card advantage. It's like a reasonable amount.
Yep. gaintmonstr did a good job of gaining life this game, but didn't do a great job of not taking damage. The Steward of the Past and Black Sky Harbinger to continue to beat down as we approach time, but also just approach the death of gaintmonstr basically naturally.
And this Sanctuary Priest is going to do his best to keep gaintmonstr alive, but he's a novice healer. He's not a max level healer. He can only do so much.
Yep, and that is time. That is game. So I think we'll get the word out to the players that we took a screenshot of the thing, but yeah, gaintmonstr's scooping up anyways. So Beylac takes the match with the comeback, reverse sweep, loses the first one, and on the back of Rain of Frogs and then Azindal's Gift gets it in games 2 and 3.
And that is just round 1 of this tournament. We're going to have a couple more rounds of hopefully games as action-packed as those.
Yeah, this is, believe it or not the only deck with Mask of Torment in the tournament. I think there's 3 Mask of Torment decks in the tournament. But yeah, that was the final match of the round as we did go to time. So that'll be reported. We'll get round 2 coverage in just a moment. We've still got 5 more rounds before we even get to top 8. So yeah, more than just a couple matches, a whole lot of Eternal action coming your way in just a moment.